Hey, what's going on? We're looking at Marx Lazy Day Farms. I have this really close to complete with original stuff. Original animals and fencing. There's some stuff mixed in here right now for just because I'm moving stuff around and such. But so I've been getting into these farm animals and spending some time over on toysoldierhq.com and researching and looking at these different molds up and stuff. They're pretty cool. But this is a story time because I'm setting this up and looking at these and stuff, and I'm reminded of my childhood on my family on a ranch, my uncle's ranch. So I thought we would do a story time. So like, let's get rid of these people because there's nobody at my uncle's ranch except for me, my uncle, my aunt who had a stroke and is bedridden. Anytime I'm there, I stay for the whole summer. As I got older, I stayed for the whole summer. I guess that can be, oops, that fence can go, but this tree has to stay. So anyway, big ranch that was essentially run by my uncle on his own, and I used to do chores there. And once I got to, I think it was my sophomore year of high school, is when I worked full-time there, even during the winter months sometimes. But anyway, so I'm getting this stuff set up, and I was reminded of a story of my first time exposed to the ranch on my own, and eventually it became, you know, like my home, obviously. But in the beginning, it was all new to me. I was the country cousin, or the city kid in the country. So this is me. I was always doing work, especially with rabbits, irrigating, and the cows, right? So he had cattle, maybe like, I don't know, 20 or 30 a herd of cattle, and we used to irrigate these fields, and it would move the cattle around. And there was a couple barns, 2 barns and a big pond and a lot of space, right? So I'm there, first time. I'm like 10 years old, and my uncle and my mom and my aunt are in the house, which is down the road, right? And so there's this big tree by this big pond. And so I have this exact creepy magazine right here. I had this magazine, and I still have it, but I had this. We had stopped at the newsstand, and I picked this up in town. And so I'm reading that creepy magazine, and I'm sitting under this tree, like not sitting, I'm like laying on my side like a kid does under this tree. And Buck is right there with me, which is this big German Shepherd dog. I'm not paying attention. I'm really getting into that Warren magazine, that creepy magazine. And I don't pay any attention, and I don't notice, right? But while I'm sitting there reading that magazine, like 15 cows freaking come over, and they're all around me, and they're all like moving close, and I didn't even notice. I just look up from my magazine, and all of a sudden, man, they're there. And the dog is doing nothing. He's perfectly comfortable. He's laying there, and they're just moving closer, and I'm freaking out. And I jump up with that creepy magazine, and I run away, and the cows look at me like they're like, duh, what the hell? Derp, right? And Buck looks at me like, what the heck? And he trots after me like, what a retard this kid is. And I run in the house, and I'm all, and they're like, what's going on with you? What happened? What's going on with you? The cows. And because I was running towards the house, and because Buck came after me, the cows started coming too, and they will just meander down the road towards the house, which is what they do sometimes. You just got to turn them around and lead them back. They're cows. I didn't even understand how they worked at this point as a kid. I had no experience with the animal. So my uncle takes me right back out to the tree where most of them are still hanging out. The ones that, the 2 or 3 or 4 that they started meandering towards the house, they just follow us right back to the tree. He lays a blanket down, and he says, lay down on the blanket, read your comic book right there. They won't mess with you. They just like people. They just like people because we feed them and take care of them, and they're curious. I had no clue. So that was like my story of my first exposure to cattle, and realizing that they're actually really cool and friendly and mellow. And as I got older and got used to doing the irrigating, we used to have these big aluminum irrigating like pipes that had wheels on them, and you disconnected them and lifted them up in sections, and then dragged them across the field, and then reconnected them once you got them to the next spot. And it was this like, you know, this numerical process that my uncle taught me how to irrigate the fields for these cows. And yeah, that's it. So Lazy Day Farm, still working on putting it together. It's a lot of fun. I like these toys. And this is all for my grandkids, trust me. So, thanks for watching. Take care. Talk to you later.